This week, we move from the letters of Paul in the New Testament to the fifth book of the Old Testament, Deuteronomy, which means second law. It records the second giving of the law by Moses as he prepared the nation to enter the promised inheritance. But Moses did more than simply repeat the law to a new generation. He applied it to their new life in the new land and stressed the importance of their loving God and obeying him from the heart. There is a time to remember. Mistakes should not be repeated. Commitments made must be fulfilled. And the memory of special events can encourage us and move us to action. This was a time to remember. Lacking faith, the old generation had wandered for 40 years and died in the desert. They left Egypt behind, but never knew the promised land. Moses prepared the sons and daughters to possess the land. After a brief history lesson emphasizing God's great acts on behalf of his people, Moses reviewed the law. Then he restated the covenant, God's contract with his people. The purpose of this book is to remind the people of what God had done and encourage them to rededicate their lives to him. It was written by Moses, except for the last part, around 1407 BC, with the view of Canaan in sight. Some key words in Deuteronomy are land, which was mentioned 190 times, here 54 times, possess and possession 57, heart 53, and love 25. The events of this book cover only a week or two of the 11th month of the 40th year. The 12th month was spent mourning the death of Moses. Then, in the first month of the 41st year, the Israelites entered the Promised Land. This week, we will be reading an introduction to the book on Monday, then chapters 1 through 4 on Tuesday through Friday, followed by the corresponding Salt Shaker devotions written by Dolores this week. The first 4 chapters include the mighty acts of what God has done for the nation of Israel. Remembering God's special involvement in our lives gives us hope and encouragement for the future. Accept God's love. Read and follow his commands in the Bible, and make a promise to stick with God whatever your situation. You will find that your life will be less complicated and more rewarding. Next week, we will continue with another 5 chapters. Don't get discouraged when reading the Old Testament. At times, it can be a little overwhelming. At those times, just please read the Salt Shaker devotion. And remember, biblical shakers will make reading the Bible way more enjoyable for you. I pray the Lord will put a hunger on your heart.